Mr. Peshawar, thank you so much for that. Well, yes, there is a bit of a concern on Moong, and you've talked about the prices slightly on the higher side as well. And all of you have talked also about the crops going forward, which also could see some concern because we are looking at a lower soil moisture. There are just so many questions that I have to ask, and we have a lot of questions coming in from the participants as well on the lower box. But even as before we move ahead, Nirav, and this one is to you. We've spoken about various pulses, and even as Chana is not in the list here, but there are just so many questions on what's really happening with Chana. So whatever numbers you have in hand, why don't you share it with our participants?
So Chana is see, basically the crop has been harvested. When we saw in the Rabi outlook, the Chana crop this year was lower that time, and I think if we revise the Chana production numbers, we would go for a more. We'll be a little more inclined towards a further lower production. And in one of the IPGA and the Australian board joint session, we discussed that at that time point also we saw that Chana might be going short of supply, and government might be opening up Chana imports or other products. So I think going forward, it's going to be there. The government has been very agile in a lot of things, in removing the stock limits in imports, getting the pulses on OGL, everything. I don't know, we jumped the guns too fast on the futures market, but that's the government's own decision. I would not like to comment much on that. But I think all things poise for a tighter Chana balance sheet. And I feel the lower the prices have sustained in the market for so long, will be giving a further boost, and the consumption happened on a normal pace. So we might have a little bit of tighter stocks in the fag end of the year. I do see government might be taking decisions on trying to get more cargo from other parts of the world. And we might see another change in duty structures. That's my thought process. So I think Chana is overall a very supportive product. That's it.
All right, you're really limiting yourself to very few words on Chana there, but we'll give it to you this time around. One thing that I have picked up from especially Mr. Kalantri and Mr. Bachawat has been about the consumption part of it. Clearly, last year wasn't so great, and it wasn't great for various commodities, not just for pulses. But when we look at the per capita consumption in case of pulses, that still continues to be on the lower side. And that is the reason I believe you guys are talking about increasing awareness. The protein intake is something that the government has been pushing out also on for some time, but that really doesn't seem to be picking up. So Mr. Bachawat, this one is to you. Where do you think that the consumption really is lacking in whatever pulses, and more clearly is the case-based scenario here? What is really being done to ensure that we increase or achieve those numbers?
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, due to last pandemic, I think that consumption is basically increasing in pulses. People are hesitant in eating non-veggies, and they have shifted their meal to vegetarian foods. The pulses consumption have increased in last 1 year after the COVID pandemic. And government is trying, because in many parts of the country there is malnutrition problem. So government of India is trying through various PDS schemes, MDM schemes, midday meal schemes, and they are increasing the consumption of pulses. And this is a very good step by government. And every year the fund allocation by government is also increasing in pulses and it can be seen by free distribution schemes like PMGKY and other PDS schemes. The consumption overall is increasing very much. And it will increase further.
Okay, I'm going to try and get that number from Mr. Kalantri. Then, what has been the growth when you look at pulses consumption year on year in India? Something that comes to your mind. What kind of growth numbers are we looking at?
Currently, if we see, the Ministry of Agriculture is predicting a very bumper production of pulses for last year, and the Ministry of Consumers, through the actions that they are taking, we've seen that both of them are not matching with the production numbers. So consumer ministry is afraid that prices may rise and have an impact on the consumer's pocket. But as Puneet sir told, that government has been concerned about increasing the consumption, but consumption is increasing through MDM or ICDS schemes. I'm talking of the general public, which I think due to availability of vegetables around the year, throughout the year at affordable prices is one of the factors that has keeping up the consumption of pulses. Also, there are many researches happening in Canada and Australia wherein the pulses they are researching that pulses, how pulses could be used in pasta, bread, or the major consumption of the fast food. Currently, if we see the teenage or the new generation is into more of fast food consumption for the evening snacks. For the morning food, we can see that we are having a very good diet of our thali culture in which all the aspects have been covered. But in the evening, if you see in town B or town C's also, the consumption of pizza, pasta, bread, or for that matter, other snacks have increased. We also need to see that how pulses could be ingrained into these products so that pulses also get a boost in demand and protein intake for the consumers as well.
There's one more analysis or number that I'm trying to get on table here, and this one is to you, Mr. Krishnamurthy. So when we look at the household consumption and when we look at the HoReCa segment, which was clearly absent in the last year, and one of the major reasons that we saw the consumption decline, how do you divide the two and what kind of a growth have we seen in both these categories?
My personal opinion is that, now that there have been at least 60 crore vaccinations across the country. And now there is every likelihood that probably the third wave or fourth wave may not come back. And even if it comes back, it will have very little impact. I'm very hopeful and sure about it. My personal idea is that going forward, the consumption level at household levels will surely go up. And I am right now bothered about the extremely low level of stocks we are holding both in India and Myanmar. And if you look at the tweet of Dr. K.S. Hasalikar in the morning, where he has given the extended range forecast animated at 1.5 kilometers height from surface, he says the enhancement possibilities of rain over central India and west coast from August 29 are very much on the cards. If this is going to happen, and there are every chance that these rains are going to happen from say August 29th to across the whole month of September, I think we are going to see a huge spike in the prices. I hope the rains won't damage the standing crops. I sincerely hope.
Oh, well, yes, nor the lack of it, nor the excess of it. We do not want that. We cannot, afford that as well at this point in time. There's one more thing, in all of your presentations, you've talked about the MSP in case of pulses prices. MSP is something that the government has been hiking year on year, and it's not just for pulses. MSP hike has been for across commodities. So
Yes.
This one is again to you, Mr. Krishnamurthy. Do you think the farmers move so easily in sense of MSPs? Because one, the MSP hike has been across board. Two, farmers do continue to sow the same thing that they have been doing for years. So would you say that any of these factors actually on ground make too much of a difference or impact?
Well, honestly speaking, MSP is more of theory in nature, because Government of India doesn't procure more than 7% of the total crop size. So MSP is more of a ritual than the real procurement. If the Government of India procures at least 20% of the crop size, then I think MSP carries a lot of sense. Otherwise, it is more of a ritual.
Nirav, this one is to you. And, for the last couple of years now, no conversation is complete without talking about the pandemic. How much of an impact has the pulses industry seen from it? We've seen mandis shut, we've seen markets shut, and the business seems to be just coming back right now. What kind of a demand growth are you looking for the rest of 2021? And is the festive season really something that this industry also is waiting for?
So Manisha, I think pulses saw a lot of different factors in the COVID times. In last year, the government distributing chickpeas from the NAFED stock to pulses like urad having very, very low consumption because a lot of urad goes into, apart from the South Indian consumption of idli dosa, goes into papad and other mithais, and completely the Horeca sector or the catering sector was closed. So there was a lot of upheaval due to the COVID, but now things are getting back on track. And as mentioned by Nitin Bhai and other people, we see that a consistent opening up of COVID everywhere in the country has happened. It's been more or less month and a half of normal life coming back, people going back to restaurants, going to parties, little bit of weddings happening. So I think keeping our fingers crossed that we don't have any major COVID outbreak, because a lot of vaccination has happened. I think we had the second wave, which was very bad, and herd immunity might be there for that. So I think the consumption is going to be more or less good for the coming festival season.
Well, yes, demand is definitely coming back. People are stepping up out. And as Mr. Krishnamurthy said, he does not believe that a third or a fourth wave is coming. And we absolutely do want to agree to that, Mr. Krishnamurthy. But let's start taking questions on what we have coming in from our participants.
Manisha, one more thing I would like to comment here.
Sure.
I've been observing pulses. There is a cyclical nature of commodities. That's what I personally believe. And what happens is this cycle comes because of, say, higher production and then lower prices, and then lower production and higher prices. So out of this cyclical nature, I feel the pulses market has already entered a bullish cycle, and this would generally prevail for some coming times. The government cannot help it. The consumer cannot help it, because this is a cycle that happens. When we had higher productions 3 years back, we banned everything coming from outside. But now we have the OGL and everything. But India's demand for pulses, and especially products which India produces majorly and very less quantity is available worldwide, the prices generally then trend to be supportive. So for the pulses friends, I would say you are in a supportive cycle in the pulses market.
All
Government
right.
trying its best, and government does have a lot of tools, but yeah, I would like to be frank that we are in a bullish cycle.
Yeah,
Thank
you know, there are fundamentals, and sometimes whatever the regulators or the policymakers might do doesn't really work within that window. It does in a longer term. The initial impact is always sentimental, but yes, it does take time on ground there. I will come to each one of you to talk about prices, but that clearly is going to be my last question here, because we have just so many questions coming in from the participants as well. And this one is from Agri World, and this is to Mr. Kalantri. Mr. Kalantri, do take this up, please. It says that, do you think sowing delayed in Karnataka due to heavy rains will impact? And also furthermore, how much tuor will be required from September until the new crop, that is until December, comes in? Also the tuor demand, how do you look at that? Is it back to normal? What is your number or answer to all of these?
Sorry, the last one.
The tuor demand, is it back to normal?
Okay. So for sowing front, due to late rains, sowing impacted in Karnataka, and sowing almost started in the last week of June and through 15th of July for major of the Karnataka. The second one was?
I'm sorry, I'll read it again for you. It says how much tuor will be required from September till the new crop arrives in?
It would be, say, around something around 9 to 10 lakh tons. We are into, say, September, October, November, and December. So for 4 months, we would be requiring something 8 to 9 lakh tons.
And how soon do you see pre-pandemic demand, pre-pandemic level of demand come back in case of tuor and other pulses?
Am I audible?
You are, yes.
Am I audible?
You are, yes.
And the next one was?
The pre-pandemic demand, when do you see that coming back? You've all talked about on how the demand is growing, and the demand is expected to be strong this time around. But are we at the pre-pandemic levels yet?
No, it would take some time for us to resume to pre-pandemic levels, because the restrictions have been lifted. But the major restrictions of, say, a festival being celebrated or a marriage to take place or a get together of more than 100 to 200 people will take some time, because we have to get into the discipline of COVID protocol. And so demand would take, we will need some time for demand to pick up. And usually if the wedding season would start after Diwali, if till then we will keep our fingers crossed that the numbers do not rise and the third wave does not come, and at that time we can see the the demand rising. And I think it would take some 6 months to 9 months to go back to the pre-COVID demand, to go to the pre-COVID levels, where we can expect bumper demand.
Okay. Mr. Kalantri, would you agree that there are just too many ifs and buts in all of the conversation right now? If the weather is right, if there is no next wave of COVID, if we look at a good crop, if the demand continues to gain up. So would you say that there still is a lot of uncertainty in the market?
Yes, there is uncertainty in the market. As I started my presentation with saying that Kudrat aur Sarkar ke samne bazaar nahi chalte. So say the COVID, be it rainfall, or be it distribution of the rainfall for that matter, and be it government, which is more concerned regarding the pulses prices, there are much uncertainty into the market. And we will need to let the time pass so that this uncertainty is clear, and we can have a clear picture of demand, or for that matter, say supply.
Okay, there's one more question that's come in for you, which says, do you think that the Latur Bilti tour has potential to reach 7,200, 7,500 kind of price range till the new crop?
Yes, going forward till last few weeks or last of the month, till the new crop arrives till full-fledged, we can expect prices to go to 75 to 7,500 Latur Bilti prices. For that matter, as I told, after 7,200, we can see some selling pressure at higher levels. So prices staying at higher levels or elevated levels would be doubtful. But we once we expect prices to go to 7,200 to 7,500. All
right. I'm taking further more questions, and these are now for Mr. Murthy. It says, nearly 5 to 6 key Urad districts in MP are under rain deficit zone. Besides this, yellow mosaic issue in many districts as well. You did mention all of this, Mr. Murthy, in your conversation earlier, but how bigger a concern is this really to the crop there?
Yeah, it's like this. Ashok Nagar is one of the major, supplying centers of Urad in Madhya Pradesh. This yellow mosaic disease infestation, is reported from Ashok Nagar, and there are chances that it can spread to other regions also. Although there is no confirmation on that about till now. Regarding the stress which is happening to the standing crop in Rajasthan, it is a little worrisome. But above all, what is worrying me is the extended rainfall during the next 4 weeks, starting from 30th August till the end of September. Normally, southwest monsoon starts withdrawing from 15th of September. Now, this year there are no indications that is going to withdraw till the end of September. In fact, it can overshoot into the month of October. The latest breaking, the weather event, is really bothering me now. We have to wait and see how it is going to play out. Thank you.
There's a more follow-through question, Mr. Murthy, and this one is from Priyanka. She wants to know, so the Urad in MP has been impacted because of the monsoon break, and that has, do you agree that Urad has, she wants to know on whether or not we will see the last year's acreage, or has that been achieved or not?
See, it's like this. In the month of, July, there is around 16th of July, when the government gave the data, sowing data figures, sowing in Madhya Pradesh was almost lacking behind by nearly 23%. How it has, the whole deficit has been covered, and now the latest data says, the sowing across the country is almost the same as that of the previous year. So some people have some doubts about the credibility of the data. But I say I go by what the government is saying, and we should trust the data. And in my opinion, these things really do not matter.
I'm sorry. So yes, as of now, it doesn't seem to be like a bigger concern, but that is something definitely you will want to keep an eye on further developments. All right. We also have questions from, this one is from Elandro from Argentina for Nirav. He's asking, do you think government policies should continue its efforts against inflation and affect next Rabi crop prices and production as chickpeas, for example?
See, as far as the government is concerned, I think Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman yesterday commented that inflation is a concern. Oil seeds and pulses price is a concern. So it's on their top radar, top list. So they will keep on trying to control the price rise, and they would like to have the consumers have affordable price of pulses. So I think till the next crops come in, the government measures would be there. And what I have seen with this government that's been there for last 2 sessions is that any product that they focus on, they do not leave it. That's always there in their intelligence. They keep a continuous market intelligence going on the secretariat level. And then they start taking decision as and when they feel it's appropriate and right.
Okay. Thank you, Alejandro, for asking that question. I'm really hoping I'm pronouncing your name right, but thank you so much for asking questions. We do understand that we have participants from over 25 countries, and thank you for those questions. Do keep them coming. This one is from Rodrigo Madeira from Brazil, and he wants to know on what will be the impact of higher freight values this year on prices and imports. Nirav, you want to take this first?
I think the trade participants would be better to answer that.
All right. So please go ahead. Mr. Kalantri, you want to take this?
I think Puneet sir would be better to answer this.
All right. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Ma'am, as we are aware that OGL is still only till 31st October, and import of pulses can be done till the bill of lading is till 31st October. And due to shortage of containers and high freight, surely the import will be hampered, and there is huge shortage of containers, and the freight shipping freight has almost doubled in last 3 or 4 months, and this has impacted, and the parity in Indian market has also been impacted. As you can see, in Masoor also it is prices are around $1,000 or $1,010, and it is much above Indian prices market.
So Puneet, would you say that this concern perhaps might just about continue, and even as the policies have been eased with the kind of high freight cases, freight charges, and the shortage of containers that we have, we perhaps are not even looking at half the number that can be imported, is the view that has been seen by various other trade participants?
Yes, because in Africa also there are a shortage of containers as seen. In Africa, because majorly shipping agencies are of European countries, and they are against the Chinese trade. So they are diverting all their shipments from Africa to European countries, and they are preferring US and European countries. So containers are coming less towards Asian countries.
All right. So this is a question from Joseph, and he wants to know expected pulses export plan for coming months and destination, and pulses import plan, export and commodity. What pulses? There's no mention here. Just 1 second. Load, port and commodity. I think we'll have to move on for that. Murthy sir, 16 lakh size of Urad Kharif crop. Is that a correct number? And would you say that there is a bit of a mismatch when you look at those numbers? Mr. Murthy, would you want to repeat the crop size and expectation here?
The fourth advance estimate of the government of India says 16 lakh Kharif crop and 7.5 lakh tons Rabi crop. Well, I presume that considering the stocks we are now carrying forward, starting this Kharif season, I presume that we have consumed more than 26 lakh tons. Otherwise, where are the stocks gone?
That point is well taken. There's also a question from Mr. Prateek Jain. He's asking Puneet ji that by going through your presentation, the moong prices shouldn't hike likewise per year, as we would have carried forward stock more this year than the previous year.
Prices movement are generally on the sentiment basis, and when the arrival and prices movement generally take place when the new arrival comes. The stocks are generally in strong hands and in traders' hands. So, but when market sees that arrival are less, they ignore the carry forward stock and market moves on the arrival basis. So, and this time moong prices are below MSP in the market, and MSP prices are quite higher than the market prices. So farmers will be interested in selling their goods to NAFED and other government agencies. So market players will get less moong, and there will be definitely increase in prices of moong. And talking to trade experts of Rajasthan, which contributes to 70% of Kharif moong sowing, there is due to lack of rain and unseasonal rains, there will be shortage of yield. There is yield. There will be yield reducing of yield around 20 to 30%. And when market player sees less arrival, the prices will increase.
So whichever way you look at it right now, the expectation is that the prices are going to increase in this case here. Let's take a next question, and this one is from Mr. Satish Goel. He's asking on what is expected price of urad in coming months after the new crop of Maharashtra, Rajasthan, and MP. That clarity or that forecast is something that we already have seen coming from Mr. Krishnamurthy. Do you want to take that up, please?
Myself?
Yes. This is for urad.
Yeah, see, next 2 months, as I just mentioned, we need to watch the rainfall activity from 30th of August till the end of September in view of the latest extended rainfall, forecast given by IMD. If I am allowed to repeat, I will repeat the same thing. If rainfall is going to be a little worrisome in the month of September, that could be an issue for urad, because the carry forward stocks are low, the stocks at Myanmar are low, and the spike could be imminent, and it could be immense if the rainfall is huge, and it can cause damage to it can cause harm to the standing crops. Let's hope the rainfall will be normal. And my worry is, the Maharashtra harvesting has already started. Now, from 29th of August, the rainfall is again likely to resurface. If this from 1st of September, the rainfall is likely to affect central India also, that is Maharashtra. If it rains, then the harvesting will get delayed. It can damage the standing crop. Even if the rainfall is just normal, it will delay the harvesting. If the rainfall is more, then it can damage the crop. Already we are, we are tight in supplies. We are in fact waiting for the crop to come and hit the markets, because then the supplies will be addressed very positively. I'm repeating the same. Please watch September rains.
And there's a follow-through question on this, and I might as well take it, and we'll cover this topic completely then, Mr. Krishnamurthy. This one is from Mr. Tanmay Kapoor Deepak. He says, what is the impact of recent floods in East Rajasthan and in areas in MP over the urad crop?
No, I see. The floods have happened in Maharashtra, in Madhya Pradesh, but I think it's too premature to talk about the damage to the crops. It is too premature. The real, the impact will be in the month of September.
All right, that is well answered. And I'll take another question. This one is from Shrikant Kovalekar. He's asking if there are so many uncertainties, imports happening, price volatility, drought concerns, Don't you think traders need some platform for hedging, and with Chana off NCDX, how do you see price rise scenario ahead? Nirav, you should be taking this.
This is Mr. Shrikant's question.
That's right.
So it's an interesting question. Yes, so there are two school of thoughts. One is the old school of thought, and one is the new school of thought. So I come from the new school of thought, and I think it's better that we know what's going to happen in future, and we have those kind of indicators there. So I think it's been a very hasty decision to ban a fantastic and a beautiful market of futures on NCDX for Chana futures that was there. There were a lot of things that were visible. Now, no, I think we have kind of made everything very invisible, but in the invisible or in the dark, there can be a lot of other things that can happen. So I feel price volatility could be more, there would be lesser transparency in the market. Even the government would not be able to see which way the market is thinking and what is the actual ground level situation. So I definitely do feel that we would miss the NCDX Chana futures on the board.
Since Shrikant has opened the way, I'm just going to drill you a bit more on this, Nirav. So, every time something like this happens, we always see presentations come in from associations and traders to the government. There's a dialogue at least that starts. Have you guys, since you're missing it so much, started any conversations with the exchange, the regulator?
So as of now, the association has not gone in with any of such thinking. Pradeep would be better to answer on that, or Mr. Kothari would be better to answer on that. But I don't think any trade body has gone for that just now.
So, Nirav, again, this one is again to you. This is a follow-through question. So right now, in any case, it was years and, the other pulses have never even made it back. Chana has been as a proxy thing that we've seen on the exchange. We've seen it as a reference price in that sense. With no availability, and the markets clearly is right with rumors on why it would have been shut. Does the regulator or the government know something that we don't know at this point in time? Because you guys sitting in trade have told all of us that it was hasty, it was not needed, and it wouldn't have really made so much of a difference. So what is the next step here? Are you ready to live without it?
We would definitely not like to live without it, but as of now, we are in India and we have to go by what the government says.
Since we are on the topic, Mr. Pradeep and Mr. Kothari, do one of you want to take a question on that, on whether or not are we going to do anything about this?
Manisha, there is discussion definitely going on internally in terms of what actions can be taken or what approach can be taken. But since Chana is still a little distance away, I think a lot of other parameters also need to be taken into account before deciding what approach can be taken, because end of the day, there has to be a rationale when you go to the government as to why should something be done or not be done. And we need to ensure that we have the right rationale, logic, and reasoning when we go to them. So that's something which we are discussing internally. And I think once a call gets taken, we'll see what best can be done.
All right, that's very well answered. Thank you so much. Moving on, and we'll take the next question from Mr. Himanshu Dhanuka. This is to Mr. Kalantri. He's asking, what do you think about in which price of Tuar the NaFED will start selling off its stock to control it in the price?
It's up to NaFED authorities and the Consumer Affairs Ministry, where they think that prices are higher for the consumer. Already, they have a target of say 10 lakh tons of Tur, I suppose, for which they are carrying only 2.7 or 2.65 lakh tons, which is very low. So they would wait for the new crop, the assurance of the new crop, which they would be coming into the hand, and after that only I think they would take decisions. But currently, the selling decisions that NaFED is taking will depend only on them only. Can't be predicted.
Sure point that.
Like monsoon.
Oh yes. Okay, this one is from Mr. L.S. Hathras. He's asking Mr. Krishnamurthy on what would be the price range of imported urad in coming months.
Imported urad is right now quoting somewhere about 7650 to 77 levels for the SQ quality in Chennai. And I suppose, I go back to the same theory, what will happen to the standing crops in the month of September. The price movements are all dependent on that. And I am not tired of repeating this again and again that the stocks at Myanmar are not great. The stocks in India are not great. So I hope everything will be all right. And if the rains are going to play truant, then I think we are going to see an immense spike. What sort of spike? Difficult to say. It all depends on the rainfall and the intensity of rainfall. I'm personally speaking, I'm a little concerned.
Okay, so I'm not going to take any more questions now. I have one final question to each one of you. I'm giving you all two case scenarios. Suppose the monsoons is just fine and there is no third or fourth wave, and we're looking at good growth consumption and the markets continue to open up in that sense. Then what are the kind of prices are we looking at in pulses? And the second scenario is that if September goes the same way as August has, because we still don't have clarity. And the other thing, if there is a third COVID wave yet again coming in. So these are two extreme case scenarios, but it would be interesting to see on how each of you really are working with these. Why don't you go first, Nirav?
So see, if there is no COVID outbreak and everything goes well as far as consumption is concerned, as we mentioned earlier, the consumption would be normal, which was last year lower for major of the pulses. So the consumption side would be supportive. If the rains and everything go normal, then our anxiety for any lower production, further lower production would not be there. Though I think the damage in Moong has already been done. There is the area reduction is already there. The Rajasthan and the North Gujarat crops are already under a lot of stress. So getting back to better yields is difficult. So I think Moong is definitely a supportive or a very supportive product. As far as Urad and Tur are concerned, I think Urad seems to be moderately supportive because of the consumption and the cycle that I'm talking about. I feel the pulses cycle is supportive. Tur may be range bound or maybe slightly supportive till the new crop comes in, and maybe then we might see the prices getting controlled. Thank you.
Right, so Nirav has given us an overview of it all, but Mr. Bachawat, let's start with you because Moong seems like a bit of a concern right now. In both the scenarios, how would you look at the consumption and prices?
I would like to say that we are too much concerned about the pulses prices, ma'am. Pulses prices are hardly 80 to 90 rupees kg per kg of dal. We consume only around 4 to 5 kg dal per month. Any price increase of pulses around 10 to 20 rupees hardly matter anyone's budget. So we must not be concerned about pulses prices. And ma'am, being a chartered accountant, I really feel that for economy to grow, we must increase pulses prices. Ma'am, the land prices from 1 lakh rupees have gone to 10 crores. And we expect farmers to sell the same pulses at 20 years old price, 50 rupees kg and 60 rupees kg. We must come out of this thinking, and we must, on one hand, we want that MSP prices should increase and farmers should earn. And we are, on one hand, we are talking about economy of pulses prices. Both cannot go simultaneously. We have to decide what we want so I hope that farmers have good prices and pulses prices increase, so they earn good. And ma'am, if there is any shortage of quantity, it will naturally be compensated with the rate. For example, if any farmers want 500 rupees from his total production, and if he produces 20 kg instead of 50 kgs, so he will naturally increase the prices. And see the Moong prices, ma'am. There is no stock limit, and there is ample production. The prices have not increased. Prices have naturally gone down by 10 rupees. So it is market is only based on demand and supply, and in due course it will take its position, ma'am. This is all.
Absolutely. Mr. Bachawat, I wasn't trying to judge the prices on whether they should go higher or whether they should go
But
lower.
ma'am, I want to,
I was-
we are so much concerned about prices, so I was
No,
eager to put a view on
So
prices.
that was a great point to put. Well, absolutely. I mean, that is the point that a lot of economists have been putting across as well, that the farmers should get their due. Customers pay for so many other things, and why shouldn't the farmers get their due as well? But I actually wanted to know on what kind of prices are you really expecting going forward from here, given the fundamentals and given the two very extreme scenarios that we are facing right now.
I mean, regarding moong,
That's right.
ma'am, moong prices will be range bound around moong MSPs around 70 to 100 rupees, 7 to 7.5. I think the prices will be around 6,500 to 7,000 rupees per quintal. It will be around MSP prices.
Okay. Mr. Krishnamurthy, to you now, what is your sense on the two various scenarios that we're looking at right now? How would you peg the range for urad prices going forward?
Going forward, there are two scenarios. One is the normal scenario where the COVID doesn't return, that is the third wave or fourth wave doesn't return, number one. And number two, we have normal rains. Even if it rains in the month of September, let us, if I assume that these rains are just normal, then I think the supply side will be addressed, very positively. So in that case, although we have, we don't have plenty of stocks in hand, both in India and Myanmar, then even then also prices will remain, they will remain in a range bound, like for example, let us say between 70 to 80 rupees for special quality of Myanmar origin or the filtered variety of the Indian origin corpus. The other extreme case is if rain gods are not favorable and if they are going to dump huge rains in the month of September, which I am not aware, and then I think I won't be surprised to see that the special quality of Myanmar origin, touching new highs probably beyond 100 rupees to 110 or 150 rupees per kg. That is in a scenario where September rains are huge.
Same question to you, Mr. Kalantri. For Tuor, what are your expectations in the sense of range of prices?
Keeping my fingers crossed that all this positive situation that you have told for comes into existing into the coming months. Considering these facts and the current supply demand situation, we expect tool prices to be on higher side. We don't expect it, downside is limited in tool prices, and we expect something 7 to 10% rise till the new crop arrives. And after the new, as and when we get the exact situation of rains and crop in flowering and seeding stage, we can estimate the new prices for the new crop. But new crop also should not trade below 6,300 because government would be keen to fill up its buffer stocks. Internationally also prices are too high, so importing from other countries would also be not possible. And considering this reason, and I hope that government is not listening, because I have a disclaimer to it that if otherwise government has some interaction in the market, or they don't let the market discover its prices naturally, then you can see some subdued prices, and it all depends on the government action also.
And yes, as is the case with all essential commodities, especially the food products, government intervention policies do matter at all times. Dr. Pai, good to have you back. I don't know when you came back, but there has been a lot of mention of you when you were not there, because just about everything depends on how the weather is going to be. Lesser rain or more rain, we don't want all of that. We want normal rains, and that barely happens. But with the kind of deficiency that we've just gone through with the month of August, how much active will the current phase be? What are we expecting in September? Because everything basically is hinging on that.
I'm really sorry. Actually, I had to attend another meeting, which I had informed to Pradeep. So that's why I had to come late. Please excuse me for that.
Yes,
But this year has been a very eventful, and though most of the models, not only IMD models, models from other global models also are indicating, has been indicating August, September, all this very good rainfall. But I admit that it did not happen. So we have to take a pinch of salt even when models are showing. But the extended range, which are showing the next 4 weeks, first 2 weeks has got a much better skill. So definitely going towards the next 2 weeks, even from today itself, the rainfall, has been scenario has increased over southern peninsula, and by month end, you will have more rainfall over central India and even Gujarat, and even in the first week of September also. So thereafter, though models are showing better, rainfall, we will see that we will update every week. So I am, I am much more optimistic in the sense that the long-term drivers like La Nina, they are becoming more favorable. They are likely to, reappear, in the last part of monsoon or in thereafter. So there is definitely a better chance of good rainfall in September.
I know the IMD's official forecast would come out for September, perhaps Dr. Pai, but are we looking at a near normal for the month of September?
Yeah, actually, as of now, the scenario, there can be possibility. So if you go by just September 100%, at the present situation, you may end up around the 91-92%. But more than that, every 5%, you will have more than that. So as of now, September can go more than 100%. That's what we are expecting. But how much, even in the present time of climate change scenario, etc., it is indicating that whenever rain happens, it happens like very heavy rainfall events. And you might have seen that even in the Madhya Pradesh and all, East Madhya Pradesh, West Madhya Pradesh, in a short period of 1 week to 10 days gave rainfall of almost 1 month or 1.5 months rain. So this type of things can happen, which had happened last year. September rainfall was 150%, in fact. So even prior to that also, we had a good September rainfall. So I only expect it could be normal to slightly above normal in the September. So we should end up very close to normal rainfall. That's what I feel. But we will update in the month end. We will have an update based for specifically for September rainfall.
Dr. Pai, in all of these years, if something that the agri stakeholders have realized is that how important it is to see a geographical distribution. So you might be looking at a normal rainfall, but even within that, there will be that fine print. So the devil is always in the details here, isn't it? So when you look at Gujarat, when you look at Rajasthan, Maharashtra, and we have seen a bit of a deficiency in many of these states, do you see that recovering also?
No, I don't think that, Gujarat having a deficiency almost 50%. There can be some, some improvement, but, it may not go to normal. Even West Rajasthan also, very less chance. But definitely West Rajasthan, you have got normal itself is very less. So, with the good event of rainfall event of 1 or week, it can compensate. But Gujarat is very less chance to recover.
Also, how would you, with the kind of deficiency that we've seen in the month of August, you said even if September is 100 and plus, are we still looking at a normal monsoon, or with the kind of calculations that you guys might be doing on the back of the envelope right now, this is going to be slightly below that?
You see that for this purpose we had the short range forecast we had done for 1 month yesterday. So we are keep on updating. So by month end, whatever get. So as of now, the forecasts are indicating normal to above normal. That's what I said. So at least 100 and above. So how much it will come exactly we will get. But these models, whatever indicating, there is a lot of uncertainty. These are all a probabilistic type of forecast. So definitely we expect more than 100%. So with that assumption, I say that it can come close to 96 also, which is close to normal, but it may not cross 100%.
Dr. Pai, just for the sake of repeating it for participants, you said the first half of September is expected to be better than the second half?
No, I did not say that September second half. I said that you have got much better skill for first half. Okay. The second half also, as per the forecast, it is indicating good rainfall over central and northwest India, but the skill is relatively less. So you will have to update. But as of now, even in the second half also, there is a normal to above normal rainfall, even in the September also.
Okay, that is what I had to ask. Nida, Mr. Krishnamurthy, you had a lot of concerns about what kind of rains could we see going forward. Is there anything that you might want to ask Dr. Pai?
No, I'm a fan of Dr. Pai. You know,
We are all, sir, we all are.
no, personally, I follow each and every word what he writes or says to the media. When he says in the month of September, rains will be 100% of long period average, then you can rest assured rains are going to be very good in the month of September. Although that may not be a very great news for standing wood crops, but rainfall is good for the country. It's good for the economy.
Okay, not so great for the urad crop. Mr. Dr.
Yes.
Pai, you're bringing rains way too late for the urad crop.
Yes, certainly if it is 100% LPA in the month of September, rest assured it's not going to be good for the standing crop, and standing crop could be impacted negatively. I'm not very sure, depends on the rainfall.
Mr.
But
Kalani,
other crops are good. So for crops like Tor and Chana, these are all very good. Forget about Urad. Urad is just one of the pulses complex. It's not so important pulse.
your love for Dr. Pai is so high that the urad crop is one part of it. Mr. Kalani, you want to say something? Yeah.
Dr. Pai had just mentioned that going forward, we are developing some chances of La Nina. So what type of La Nina are we looking, a strong or a weak La Nina? And what would be the impact of it rains till December or say January month?
See, as far as La Nina is concerned, it will be, moderate or weak actually. It may not go strong. So mostly after monsoon only, but the increasing trend, the temperature decreasing. So that will help monsoon to strengthen the later part, in September. That's what only help. But when La Nina will happen, by the time you have got rainfall only in the southern peninsula. You don't have much rainfall in November, December over Indian region. Only again from January, February, March, that is when you will have a rainfall activity over northern part. So since by the time, even in the prediction of La Nina shows that though it will recover by again after December again to go weak. So there may not be much impact on winter rainfall, except that, there can be cooler than normal temperature over northern part, in fact, and some western disturbance activities there, then you can get a good rainfall over northernmost part in January, February. But otherwise, it may not have much impact on central India or northwest during November, December. I don't expect much rain during that.
So, sir, central India or the southern part of India should get good rains in October, November? October
you will get, but by the November, it will be a dry period. It is mainly concentrated over northern part, southern part, Tamil Nadu, coastal Andhra Pradesh, South Karnataka, and Kerala. So these are the part generally you get a good rainfall. In fact, Tamil Nadu gets 50% of its annual rainfall during that part.
Any more questions? Or can I ask the withdrawal question? That is what Pradeep Ji's actually messaged me. Pradeep Ji, do you want to ask that question? He wants to know, when is the withdrawal happening? Is it happening in October sometime?
Yeah, see, even last 10 or 11 years, the withdrawal has been delayed actually. Almost, earlier it used to be 1st September. In fact, based on the present, normal, this one, which we have computed new normal, even that is indicating some 7 days delayed actually withdrawal. So there will be delayed withdrawal. That means you will have a monsoon will stay there over northwestern and central part. So for more time, but thereafter, there will be fast movement to southern part as usual. By 15th October or so, it will reach to its normal. So there will be duration of monsoon. Even in the, it has been seeing that last few years, the duration of monsoon also is more over northwest and central part nearby.
All right, I think with that, I'll pass on the baton to Pradeep, who's joined us here. Thank you so much. As always, this has been a very enriching, informative, and a very